Welcome back to the Veteran Support Team of America's Philanthropy program. I'm Julian Rayford, your guide on this journey to becoming more effective fundraisers. Stories move people in ways that facts and figures cannot. Today, we'll delve into the art of storytelling by focusing on character. Think about your favorite books or movies. What resonates with you? Chances are, it's the characters. We connect with stories on an emotional level through characters. This connection is crucial in fundraising. Donors give when they feel emotionally invested. Let's explore how to craft stories that resonate deeply with your donors. Imagine you're listening to a story. The plot is intriguing, the stakes are high, but the characters are bland and forgettable. Now picture that same story, but this time the characters are richly developed, relatable, and easy to visualize. Suddenly, the story comes alive. You find yourself rooting for the protagonist, feeling empathy for their struggles, and celebrating their victories. That's the power of character. To truly understand the power of character in storytelling, we need to talk about perspective. Imagine for a moment that you're reading a story about a young veteran struggling to readjust to civilian life after serving overseas. The story could be told from several different perspectives: the veteran themselves, a family member, a therapist, or even an objective observer. Each perspective would offer a unique viewpoint and evoke different emotions in the reader. Now consider which perspective is most likely to elicit empathy and inspire action from a potential donor. While all perspectives have value, stepping directly into the shoes of the veteran allows the donor to experience the world through their eyes. They feel the weight of their experiences, the challenges they face, and the hopes they hold for the future. This shift in perspective is crucial. It moves the donor beyond simply understanding the veteran's situation to actually feeling it. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It's the bridge that connects us to one another, allowing us to see the world through different eyes and experience the world through different hearts. In the context of fundraising, empathy is the secret sauce that transforms a compelling story into a call to action. When donors feel empathy for the characters in our stories, when they can understand their struggles, share their hopes, and feel their pain, they're more likely to donate. Why? Because empathy creates a sense of shared responsibility. It compels us to act, to alleviate suffering, and to make a difference in the lives of others. Think about it. We've all experienced moments in our lives where we've needed help, support, or a listening ear. When we encounter those same needs in others, especially when they're presented through the lens of a relatable character, our natural instinct is to help. We've established that character is crucial for creating emotional connections with donors. But how do we ensure that our characters are memorable and impactful? The answer lies in specificity. When we provide specific details about our characters, their names, their backgrounds, their dreams, their fears, we make it easier for donors to visualize them as real people. Think about it this way, which is more evocative: telling a donor that a veteran is struggling with homelessness, or sharing the story of John, a former Army medic who served 2 tours in Afghanistan and is now sleeping on the streets. The latter, with its specific details, paints a much clearer and more compelling picture in the donor's mind. This isn't about exploiting personal details or manipulating emotions. It's about using the power of specificity to create a deeper connection between the donor and the cause. The more real and relatable our characters feel, the more likely donors are to feel invested in their well-being. We often talk about the power of storytelling in abstract terms, but what's truly fascinating is the science behind it. Our brains are wired to respond to stories, and characters play a central role in that response. When we encounter a relatable character, our brains release oxytocin, a hormone associated with empathy and connection. Researchers have found that when we read about or hear stories about characters who are struggling, our brains activate the same regions that are activated when we experience those struggles ourselves. This is a powerful insight for fundraisers. It means that by crafting compelling stories with relatable characters, we can literally tap into the neural pathways associated with empathy and compassion in our donors' brains. We've talked about the importance of specificity in character development, but why is it so effective? The answer lies in the power of visualization. When we provide our audiences with specific details about a character, we make it easier for them to create a mental image of that person. And the clearer that image, the stronger the emotional connection. Think about it this way. If I ask you to picture a veteran, what comes to mind? You might conjure up a generic image, but it's unlikely to be very detailed or evocative. But if I ask you to picture Sarah, a single mother who served as a combat medic in Iraq and is now struggling to provide for her 2 young children, suddenly the image becomes much more vivid. That's because the specific details, Sarah's name, her role as a mother and a veteran, her struggles, provide anchors for our imagination. They give us something concrete to hold on to, making the character feel more real and relatable. The alchemy of emotion. Turning empathy into action. Empathy is powerful, but it's only the first step. The challenge is transforming empathy into action. How do we move donors to generosity and support? When donors connect with a character, they see themselves as part of the solution. End stories with a clear call to action. Show donors their tangible impact. Fundraising invites people to be part of something larger. Seeing is feeling the primacy of visuals in storytelling. We are visual creatures. We process images faster than words, and those images have a profound impact on our emotions. Think about the last time you watched a powerful film or saw a moving photograph. The visuals likely stayed with you long after the experience was over. In storytelling, this principle is paramount. If we want our audience to connect with our characters and their stories, we need to make those characters visible. We need to paint pictures with our words, creating vivid mental images that linger in the minds of our donors. Remember, we're not just conveying information, we're trying to evoke an emotional response. And the most direct path to the heart is through the eyes. When donors can clearly see the individuals they're helping, they're more likely to feel empathy, compassion, and a desire to act. The power of one. Why simplicity wins hearts and donations. Our brains are wired to crave simplicity. We're bombarded with information every day, and our natural instinct is to filter out the noise and focus on what's clear and easy to understand. This principle holds true in storytelling, especially when it comes to fundraising. While it might seem counterintuitive, focusing on the story of a single individual can be far more impactful than presenting donors with a broad overview of a problem. When we try to tell too many stories at once, our message becomes diluted, and it's harder for donors to connect with any one individual. United we stand. The impact of cohesive groups. While the power of one can be incredibly effective in storytelling, there are times when we need to represent groups of people. This is especially true when dealing with issues that affect entire communities or populations. The key is to present those groups in a way that feels cohesive and visually unified. Instead of presenting a collection of disparate individuals, we need to find the common thread that binds them together. Are they a family struggling to make ends meet? Are they veterans who served in the same unit? By highlighting their shared experiences and goals, we create a stronger sense of connection and make it easier for donors to empathize with their plight. Imagine you're looking at a photograph of a group of people. If they're scattered randomly, it's just a group. But if they're standing together, their body language conveying a sense of unity and shared purpose, the image becomes much more powerful. The perils of complexity, why less is more. In the world of storytelling, there's a common saying, kill your darlings. It means that sometimes, to create a truly compelling narrative, we need to be willing to cut out the parts we love, the extraneous details, the subplots, the characters that, while interesting, don't directly serve the heart of the story. This can be a difficult task, especially for fundraisers who are passionate about their cause and eager to share every aspect of it with potential donors. But the truth is, complexity can be a storytelling killer. When we bombard our audience with too much information, we risk overwhelming them and losing their attention. Think about it this way. Imagine you're trying to explain a complex scientific concept to a child. Would you use technical jargon and detailed explanations, or would you opt for simple language and relatable examples? The latter, of course. The same principle applies to fundraising. Finding the essence, distilling your story to its core. So, how do we strike the right balance between providing enough detail to engage our audience and overwhelming them with complexity? It starts with identifying the essence of our story, the core message we want to convey, and the emotional response we want to evoke. Once we've identified the heart of our story, we can start stripping away the non-essential elements. Ask yourself, does this detail enhance the story or distract from it? Does it deepen our understanding of the character or muddy the waters? This process of distillation can be challenging, but it's essential for creating a story that is both memorable and impactful. Remember, our goal is not to tell donors everything, it's to tell them the right things, the things that will resonate with them on an emotional level and inspire them to take action. Building empathy, choosing characters that resonate. Not all characters are created equal. Some naturally evoke more empathy than others. Children, for example, are often seen as innocent and vulnerable, making them inherently sympathetic figures. Animals too, especially those that are perceived as helpless or endangered, tend to elicit strong emotional responses. When choosing characters for our fundraising stories, it's important to consider who our audience is and what kind of stories they're most likely to connect with. If we're trying to raise money for a children's hospital, for example, featuring a child who is battling a serious illness is a natural choice. However, even when dealing with less inherently sympathetic characters, we can still build empathy by focusing on their shared humanity. We all experience challenges, setbacks, and moments of vulnerability. By highlighting these universal experiences, we can create characters that resonate with donors regardless of their background or beliefs. Section 1. The Power of Vulnerability. Humanizing our characters. In a world that often celebrates perfection and success, it can be tempting to present our characters as flawless heroes who overcome adversity with unwavering strength. But the truth is, perfection is boring. It's in our imperfections, our vulnerabilities, and our moments of doubt that we truly connect with one another as human beings. When we allow our characters to be vulnerable, to express fear, sadness, or uncertainty, we make them more relatable and therefore more sympathetic. We invite donors to see themselves in the characters' struggles, to remember times when they too have felt lost, overwhelmed, or afraid. Think about some of the most memorable characters in literature and film. They're not always the strongest or the bravest, but they're always the most human. They make mistakes, they experience doubt, and they don't always have all the answers. And it's in those moments of vulnerability that we see their true strength and resilience. Section 2. The Hero's Journey, inviting donors to be part of the solution. Every good story needs a hero. In fundraising, the hero is the donor. By inviting donors to be part of the solution, we empower them to make a tangible difference. A clear call to action can be powerful. Your donation can provide a veteran with a warm meal. Highlighting past donations emphasizes ongoing need. Small contributions create real change. When donors feel part of something bigger, they give generously and stay engaged. Creating stories that transcend categories. While individual stories are powerful, our work often extends beyond one person. We're fighting for systemic change, for a world where everyone thrives. We need stories that speak to justice, equality, and human dignity, expanding our definition of character to larger groups or concepts. Instead of one veteran, tell the story of a generation. Find the human element within larger narratives. Create stories that resonate deeply and ignite passion for a just world. The art of simplification. Storytelling is a powerful tool for fundraisers. It requires practice and patience. Achieving clarity without sacrificing depth is challenging. Our goal is to move the audience to action, guide them along a clear path, inspiring them to make a difference. Section 2. The Enduring Power of Character, a recap. Let's recap the key takeaways on the power of character in fundraising. Character is king. At the heart of every compelling story is a relatable character. Donors connect emotionally with characters. Specificity breeds clarity. Specific characters make stories real and relatable. Empathy is the bridge. It makes donors more likely to donate. Simplicity wins. Use clear language and vivid imagery. The donor is the hero. Empower them to make a difference. Transform fundraising into meaningful invitations to join a movement. Section 3. Onward, writing your own success stories. Now that you understand the power of character-driven storytelling, it's time to put these principles into practice. Look for the stories within your organization. Seek out the individuals whose experiences exemplify your mission and whose voices deserve to be heard. Don't be afraid to get personal. Share your own connection to the cause. Why does this work matter to you? What motivates you to get up every day and fight for a better world? Authenticity is contagious, and when you share your own passion, it inspires others to find theirs. Remember, storytelling is a journey, not a destination. There's always room for improvement, for refinement, for discovering new ways to connect with your audience on a deeper level. So, go forth and tell your stories. Tell them with heart, with clarity, and with an unwavering belief in the power of human connection to create a brighter future for all.
The Language of Numbers Where Math Meets Mission, written by Ken Burnett from Relationship Fundraising. In business, success is often measured in stark numerical terms: profit margins, market share, and return on investment. Yet, in fundraising, where the currency is generosity and the bottom line is positive change, the equation becomes more nuanced. Fundraising is about connecting with people emotionally, inspiring them to invest in a cause greater than themselves. The ability to communicate the human impact of a donation, the lives transformed, the communities strengthened, sets successful campaigns apart. Understanding value perception, cost-benefit analysis, and the psychology of giving are valuable tools for fundraisers. The key lies in balancing compelling data with emotionally resonant stories that inspire action. Fundraising matches, mirroring the allure of retail deals. Matching gifts, leverage the power of numbers in fundraising. Like buy one, get one free offers, matching gifts maximize value and impact. They create a powerful incentive for giving. The allure lies in urgency and amplified impact. Knowing their donation will be matched can be a powerful motivator. The psychology of matching 1-to-1 versus 1-to-3. Matching gifts add excitement and value to fundraising. The match ratio influences donor psychology and behavior. A 1-to-1 match is straightforward and transparent. It conveys partnership and shared commitment. 1-to-2 or 1-to-3 matches create urgency and impact. Tripling contributions motivates donors seeking high returns. Clear messaging is crucial to avoid manipulation. The optimal ratio depends on the audience and goals. Strategic campaigns align match ratios with donor motivations. Beyond the numbers, the power of storytelling in giving. While understanding the mathematical aspects of fundraising is undoubtedly important, it's crucial to remember that ultimately, philanthropy is driven by emotion, not logic. People give because they are moved by a cause, inspired by a story, or touched by a need. This is where the power of storytelling comes into play. Effective fundraising narratives go beyond simply presenting facts and figures. They weave together compelling narratives that connect with donors on a deeply personal level. They introduce relatable characters facing real-world challenges, highlighting the tangible impact that donations can have on their lives. They evoke empathy, inspire hope, and ultimately, motivate action. A compelling fundraising story will transport the donor from the realm of spreadsheets and statistics into the heart of the issue at hand. It will show them, rather than simply tell them, the difference their contribution can make. It will create a sense of shared purpose and inspire them to become part of something larger than themselves. Tax benefits, lowering the barrier to generosity. In addition to the emotional motivations for giving, practical considerations such as tax benefits can also play a significant role in donor decision-making. For many individuals and businesses, the knowledge that their charitable contributions can result in tax deductions can serve as an added incentive to give. By reducing the net cost of a donation, tax benefits effectively lower the barrier to entry for potential donors. This is particularly relevant for those who may be considering a larger gift, as the tax savings can make a substantial difference in their overall financial planning. Highlighting these benefits clearly and transparently can be a powerful way to encourage greater generosity, especially among donors who are particularly financially savvy. However, it's important to note that while tax benefits can certainly influence giving behavior, they should never be the primary motivator. The emphasis should always be on the impact of the donation itself, with tax benefits presented as a secondary benefit that enhances the overall value proposition for the donor. Stories that resonate: crafting compelling fundraising narratives. Creating fundraising narratives that resonate with donors requires a deep understanding of their motivations, values, and aspirations. It's about moving beyond generic appeals and crafting tailored messages that speak directly to the heart of what drives their philanthropic decisions. One effective approach is to focus on the tangible impact of donations, showcasing real-life stories of individuals and communities who have directly benefited from the organization's work. These stories should be authentic, relatable, and emotionally engaging, highlighting the transformative power of philanthropy. Another key element is transparency. Donors want to know that their contributions are being used effectively and efficiently to create meaningful change. Providing clear and concise information about how donations are allocated and the specific outcomes they support can build trust and confidence in the organization's mission. The donor's perspective: understanding motivations. To craft truly compelling fundraising narratives, it's essential to step into the shoes of the donor and understand the motivations that drive their philanthropic decisions. What are their values, passions, and concerns? What kind of impact are they hoping to make with their giving? Some donors are driven by a deep sense of social responsibility, feeling a moral obligation to give back to their communities and address societal challenges. Others are motivated by a personal connection to a cause, perhaps having been personally touched by an issue or inspired by someone who has. Understanding these underlying motivations is key to crafting messages that resonate. A donor who is passionate about environmental conservation, for example, will likely respond to different messaging than someone who is primarily motivated by supporting education or healthcare initiatives. Emotional investment: connecting donors to impact. Effective fundraising is about more than just soliciting donations. It's about cultivating meaningful relationships with donors and making them feel like valued partners in the organization's mission. This involves creating opportunities for donors to connect with the cause on a deeper level, beyond simply writing a check. One way to foster this sense of connection is by inviting donors to participate in events, volunteer opportunities, or site visits that allow them to witness the impact of their contributions firsthand. Seeing the tangible results of their generosity can be a powerful motivator for continued support. Regular communication is also crucial for maintaining engagement and keeping donors informed about the organization's progress. Sharing updates, stories, and impact reports not only demonstrates transparency and accountability, but also reinforces the value of their contributions. Building trust through transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability are paramount in building trust with donors and ensuring the long-term sustainability of any fundraising effort. Donors want to know that their contributions are being used responsibly, ethically, and effectively to achieve the organization's stated goals. This involves being upfront and transparent about how donations are allocated, providing clear and concise financial reporting, and demonstrating a commitment to ethical fundraising practices. It also means being open to feedback, both positive and negative, and using it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. By demonstrating a commitment to transparency and accountability, organizations can cultivate a culture of trust and confidence among their donor base, fostering long-term relationships built on mutual respect and shared values. The power of gratitude: cultivating lasting relationships. Expressing sincere gratitude is fundamental to cultivating lasting relationships with donors and fostering a culture of philanthropy. Donors need to feel appreciated and valued for their contributions, no matter the size. A simple thank you note goes a long way in expressing gratitude and acknowledging the impact of their gift. Personalized messages that reference their specific donation and how it will be used can further enhance the impact. Beyond written correspondence, organizations can also express gratitude through public acknowledgement, invitations to special events, or opportunities to engage with the organization in meaningful ways. The key is to make donors feel like valued partners in the mission, recognizing that their generosity is what makes the organization's work possible. Actionable insights, tips for fundraising success. In conclusion, successful fundraising requires a delicate balance of analytical understanding and creative storytelling. By leveraging the principles of value perception, understanding donor psychology, and crafting compelling narratives, organizations can inspire generosity and maximize their fundraising potential. Here are some actionable insights to consider. Asterisk, know your audience. Tailor your messaging to the specific values, motivations, and interests of your target donor base. Focus on impact. Clearly articulate the tangible difference that donations make, showcasing real-life stories and measurable outcomes. Embrace transparency. Be open and transparent about your financials, impact metrics, and ethical fundraising practices. Cultivate relationships. Foster a sense of community and shared purpose by engaging donors beyond the transaction. Express gratitude. Show your appreciation through personalized thank you messages, public acknowledgement, and meaningful engagement opportunities. By embracing these principles and continually adapting to the evolving landscape of philanthropy, organizations can unlock the true power of fundraising and create a lasting impact on the causes they serve. Every great fundraising appeal is, at its heart, a story. It's a narrative that connects people, emotions, and causes in a way that transcends mere transactions. It's the story of a donor, a gift, and a reason to give. This story is not just about the act of giving, but about the journey and the transformation that happens along the way. This is the donor's hero story, and it hinges on two crucial elements: motivation and cost. These elements are the pillars that support the entire narrative. Motivation is the emotional engine that drives the donor to act. It's the spark that ignites the desire to contribute and make a difference. It's the feeling of empathy for a cause, the desire to make a difference, the pull of a personal connection. It's the realization that their contribution can change lives and create ripples of positive impact. Cost, on the other hand, is the practical barrier that stands between the donor and their potential impact. It's the tangible and intangible considerations that weigh on their decision. Fundraising often focuses on the tangible aspects of cost, the dollar amount, the percentage of income, the opportunity cost of other spending. These are the visible hurdles that donors must overcome. But the true cost of giving is often emotional. It's the internal struggle, the weighing of priorities, and the emotional investment that comes with the decision to give. It's the feeling of sacrifice, the fear of not having enough, the uncertainty of where their hard-earned money is going. These emotional costs can be just as significant as the financial ones. Effective fundraising requires us to acknowledge and address both the emotional drivers and the perceived barriers to giving. We must understand the full spectrum of what motivates and hinders donors. Too often, we lead with the math. We focus on the numbers, the statistics, and the financials, hoping that logic will prevail. We bombard potential donors with statistics, budgets, and impact reports. We present them with data, believing that a compelling case for support will naturally lead to a donation. We try to appeal to their logical minds, believing that a compelling case for support will naturally lead to a donation. However, this approach often falls short. This approach ignores a fundamental truth about human behavior. We are emotional creatures who justify our decisions with logic, not the other way around. Our hearts lead, and our minds follow. To truly inspire giving, we need to start with the story. We need to connect on an emotional level, creating a narrative that resonates deeply with potential donors. We need to tap into the emotions that drive generosity, empathy, compassion, hope. These are the feelings that move people to act and to give selflessly. We need to paint a vivid picture of the problem we're trying to solve, the people we're trying to help, and the impact that their gift will make. This picture must be clear, compelling, and emotionally engaging. Only then can we effectively use numbers not as barriers, but as tools to empower donors on their hero's journey. By blending emotion with information, we create a powerful narrative that inspires action and fosters lasting connections. Numbers, while essential for transparency and accountability, can sometimes become roadblocks in the fundraising process. When presented without context or emotional resonance, they trigger a logical, analytical response in our brains. This shift to logic can stifle the very emotions that drive generosity. The heart and the mind often work in tandem, but when numbers dominate, the heart can be sidelined. Imagine a fundraising appeal that begins with statistics about homelessness. The number of people living on the streets, the average age of a homeless person, the percentage of homeless individuals who are veterans. While these figures are undoubtedly important, they lack the emotional power to move people to action. Numbers alone can't convey the pain, the struggle, or the hope that lies within each individual story. In fact, they might even have the opposite effect, triggering feelings of helplessness or even apathy. When faced with overwhelming data, people often feel paralyzed, unsure of how their small contribution could make a difference. The human brain is wired to protect itself from emotional overload. It's a survival mechanism that helps us cope with the vast amount of information we encounter daily. When confronted with overwhelming statistics, our natural defense mechanism is to disengage. We shut down emotionally to protect ourselves from feeling overwhelmed. We become desensitized to the numbers, seeing them as abstract concepts rather than real human stories. This detachment makes it difficult to feel a personal connection to the cause. This emotional detachment creates a barrier to giving, as donors struggle to connect with the cause on a personal level. They need to feel the impact of their contribution, to see the faces and hear the stories behind the numbers. Furthermore, focusing too heavily on numbers can inadvertently reinforce the perception of scarcity. It can make the problem seem insurmountable, leading to a sense of futility. When we highlight the enormity of a problem, we risk making donors feel like their contributions are insignificant. They may think, "What can my small donation do in the face of such a huge issue?" This feeling of insignificance can be incredibly demotivating, leading potential donors to believe that their gifts won't make a real difference. It's crucial to show them that every contribution, no matter how small, has a meaningful impact. The key to overcoming the logic barrier is to remember that fundraising is not about persuading people to part with their money. It's about connecting them to a larger purpose. It's about inviting them to be part of something bigger than themselves, to join a movement that is making a real difference, to join a community of changemakers, people who are passionate about making the world a better place, to make a tangible difference in the world. Every action, every donation, contributes to a larger story of change and hope. And that invitation starts with a story that touches the heart, ignites the spirit, and inspires action. Because at the end of the day, it's the human connection that drives generosity. While numbers can sometimes hinder the emotional connection crucial for fundraising, they can also be powerful allies in this endeavor. The key lies in understanding how to use them strategically, not as cold, hard facts, but as tools to enhance the narrative and empower donors. Consider, for instance, the story of a young girl named Malala Yousafzai, who defied the Taliban to pursue education. Her story, filled with courage and determination, resonates deeply with people around the world. Now imagine pairing her story with the statistic that over 130 million girls worldwide are denied access to education. Suddenly, the number transcends its numerical value. It transforms into 130 million individual stories of potential, ambition, and dreams waiting to be realized. It becomes a call to action, a tangible representation of the impact that collective action can achieve. Numbers, when used effectively, can make the insurmountable feel achievable. They can break down a seemingly impossible problem into manageable pieces, demonstrating the tangible impact of even the smallest contributions. For example, instead of highlighting the millions of dollars needed to build a new school, a fundraising campaign could focus on the cost of educating one child for a year. This shift in perspective makes the goal feel more attainable, encouraging donors to see themselves as part of a collective solution. Section 4. Sequencing for success, story first, math second. The order in which we present information significantly influences its impact. The way we structure our message can either captivate our audience or leave them indifferent. Our brains are wired to process narratives more effectively than raw data. Stories engage our emotions and make the information more memorable. Therefore, starting with a compelling story and then supporting it with relevant numbers is crucial for maximizing fundraising success. This method ensures that the audience is emotionally invested before they are presented with the facts. Think of it like building a house. The story is the solid ground upon which everything else stands. You don't start with the plumbing and electrical wiring. These elements are essential, but they come later in the process. You begin with the foundation, the framework, the walls that will hold the story of the house. This structure is what gives the house its shape and stability. Similarly, in fundraising, the story is the foundation upon which you build the case for support. It sets the stage for everything that follows. Begin by crafting a narrative that evokes emotion and creates a connection with the donor. This connection is the key to engaging their interest and commitment. Introduce them to the individuals or communities your organization supports. Show them the faces and lives that will be impacted by their generosity. Share their stories, their struggles, and their aspirations. Paint a vivid picture of their daily lives and the challenges they face. Make the donor feel invested in their well-being and eager to be part of their journey. This emotional investment is what drives action. Once the emotional connection is established, you can introduce the numbers. These numbers will now have a context and a deeper meaning. Use them to quantify the need, to demonstrate the impact of your work, and to illustrate how the donor's contribution fits into the larger picture. Numbers can show the scale of the problem and the effectiveness of the solution. For instance, after sharing a story about a family struggling with food insecurity, you can introduce statistics about hunger in your community. This makes the issue more relatable and urgent. This approach ensures that the numbers are not perceived as cold, hard facts, but as tangible representations of the human stories you've already shared. It bridges the gap between emotion and logic, making your case more compelling and persuasive. Section 5. The power of social proof cost in context. Human beings are social creatures, constantly seeking cues from others to guide our own behavior. This principle, known as social proof, plays a significant role in shaping our perception of value and influencing our giving decisions. When we see others contributing to a cause, it validates our own inclination to give. It signals that this cause is worthy of our support, that our contributions will be put to good use, and that we'll be part of a community that shares our values. In the context of fundraising, social proof can be leveraged to reframe the perception of cost. Instead of presenting the cost of donating in isolation, position it within the context of what others are giving. Highlighting the average donation amount or showcasing a range of giving levels can encourage donors to contribute at a level that feels comfortable and meaningful within the community. Another effective strategy is to showcase testimonials from existing donors. Sharing their personal stories about why they chose to give, how their contributions have made a difference, and the joy they experience from supporting the cause can inspire others to follow suit. These testimonials humanize the act of giving, demonstrating that it's not just about writing a check, but about joining a community of like-minded individuals committed to making a difference.